Okay, I'll kick off the call and thank and welcome everybody to the call. And we're going to talk about accountability from perhaps a slightly different perspective. And from a group of 9, there's 8 of us out of the 9 here at the moment. So I think we'll start off with if each of us could introduce ourselves, who we are and where we're from. Judy, do you want to kick off?
It would help if I unmuted myself. Yeah, so welcome. Yeah, just be excited because we're a group of 9 and we are all such individual, different people. I am Judy, and I'm a mom of 2 adults, and I am a Lifebook certified Lifebook leader. Also a Lifebook champion, and recently moved to Spain from the United States, where I lived 30 years ago, or lived for 30 years. And that's been a complete life change for me. And the last 2 years have been pretty challenging, but because of this group, I've done so well up to now that I contribute a lot of my success and a lot of my growth to these 8 wonderful women. So just wanted to mention that.
Thanks, Judy. Danny?
I am Danny. I am currently living in West Virginia in the United States, and I'm a Lifebook ambassador and a Lifebook leader and a bunch of other things. Mother, wife, husband. No, I'm married to. Okay. Yeah, wife of my wonderful husband, and yeah, and I am here. I'm very present today, sort of.
Okay, that's all right. Manju?
Hello, I'm Manjushri Nair. I'm from India and I'm a surgeon by profession. I happen to be a mother and a wife as well. I stumbled across Lifebook in 2019. It was a wonderful experience, so I became an ambassador, and that's how I met these wonderful superwomen who took me through 2020, and there have been so many surprises in my life just because I decided to explore what if. What if in my health category? What if in my relationship? What if in my profession, in my career? So very happy to be here. We came together, didn't really label ourselves as any sort of group, but we are sisters from 4 continents.
Thank you.
Lovely to be here.
Catherine?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Catherine. I'm one of the Lifebook ambassadors. I started my Lifebook journey in 2017, and I will say that it didn't gain traction until 2019 when I became an ambassador, because living the Lifebook lifestyle and being an ambassador meant that I really focused more on my Lifebook lifestyle. And then I met these 8 other wonderful women who we started talking, and we've enjoyed our time together ever since.
And you're from where, Catherine?
Oh yes, I'm from snowy central Michigan at the moment.
Okay. Okay, Smada?
Hi, I'm Smada and I'm from Israel. And at first, when we started the group, I am very individualist person, and I used to work by myself. And I think that joining the 8 of us at first was like kind of a try, it was a friendship and it was working on my social life because I wanted to make it grow a little bit. And at first it was like really nice talks. And then we started to bring into the table other issues that we wanted to work through. And I found this group as a solid back for many things I wanted to do. I mean, I could go in to the chat and say something like, where do I need like support, and I knew that they are there, and it's a enjoyable group. And you know, it's 2 years, but it's only the beginning.
Well, we'll go into more into that detail a little bit later on, but thank you. Yvette, sorry.
Yvette. I'm from Dublin in Ireland. I'm an executive coach. My background has been in HR. I came to Lifebook in 2019 in the April, and then I met all these wonderful women and we formed the group and we became ambassadors. And as the other ladies have said, it has been an incredible journey. I know we're going to get into that more in a while, but we literally have been each other's backbone, support, and a solidarity throughout some really testing times. And it's just grown stronger and stronger over the last 2 years.
Thank you. Maria?
Hello, I'm Maria. I'm sitting in South Africa at the moment. I kind of split my life between here and Holland. My partner, who I've built a relationship with through my Lifebook process, is actually Dutch, lives in Gouda. So it's difficult to locate myself now. So that's part of the process. Meeting these women has been an immense help to my entrepreneurial aspirations. I met up with them as I sort of drifted into some of the first line challenges of my move to leave the corporate world and become what I call a conscious commerce crusader. We'll talk about that more, I'm sure. But I'm very grateful to be here. And yeah, it's as I say, I'm sitting in South Africa at the moment, and it sounds like the Lifebook in the background. Lifebook, I want to say love boat in the background. We'll talk about that more too. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And I'm Heidi, Lifebook ambassador, Lifebook leader, part of this group of 9 incredible human beings. And our journey has been phenomenal. And I can honestly say, with all hand on heart, I wouldn't be where I am now without them. And that's testament to Lifebook and the journey that we've all taken. So we're going to start sharing our journey as an accountability group with you. So Judy, can you just talk about when and how we came together? Take yourself off mute.
Thank you for getting. Yes, it was 2019, September 2019, Mind Valley. We were part of the first ambassador groups for Lifebook, and together with some other ambassadors too. But we were a core group that were always on those bi-weekly calls each and every time. And as we shared a lot about ourselves, our vulnerability as well. I just remember one of the first calls where I think it was Carrie, who's not here, but I'm sure she doesn't mind me sharing this, and I myself, we started crying on one of our first calls because it was such a tough time, but it was okay. I felt that whatever I had to share was just welcome with such love and compassion, that it was okay to be vulnerable in this group. And that was, for me, just one of those key moments that I knew that, you know, this was the group stick to. But anyways, then we decided to become a group, and we kind of found each other organically within that big ambassador group and started to gravitate towards each other and started to message each other through, I think it was Facebook Messenger first, and then we created a WhatsApp group, and then we started to do the weekly Zoom calls. And that was such a lifesaver, especially during at the first stages of when COVID started and we all were locked down in our space. The weekly calls were so helpful to all of us as we were sharing, you know, what our challenges and everything. That's how it started. I don't know if I missed anything, so feel free to add.
No, I think that covered it all.
Yeah.
So Smadar, can you talk about how we started as an accountability group?
Yeah, I remember that we were chatting a lot in the ambassador group, and then we didn't want to disturb the others. So we said, like, let's we just created it. I don't remember who created this group, but we just created it, and that's it. And then we started. Then we just, you know, started chat and meet. This is what I remember.
Yeah. I also do remember that we had a tribe manager in Mind Valley at the time, which was a guy called Austin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who was actually very jealous of us as a group, and wanted to join and bring his feminine energy. And a couple of times we allowed him, and we allowed his feminine energy to come and join us, and it was a lot of fun. But he was very jealous, and there were a couple of others that wanted to join our group as well, from the male side. But we very much felt a feminine energy in the early stages anyway. But that was quite a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
how we, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and the connection started like very gentle. I mean, it started between the 9 of us, and every time that we thought about, I remember talking to some of us of adding a different energy into it, and it was like, no, I mean, we are building here something. I don't know, something happened by itself about this group. Okay, something happened by itself because it took its power eventually, just moved by itself, and we are with it. And I must say that lots of it is thanks to you, Heidi, because you are really holding these weekly calls since we started.
Okay. So how we evolved and grew as a group. You'd like to
Well,
start?
When we started, we were in different places in our lives, with different areas of focus amongst the categories as well. But what was common for all of us that we were committed to the Lifebook lifestyle. We had already derived so much of value, and I see there were a few questions about what it meant to be ambassador. It just basically meant giving back to the community, giving back to people. You know, what we have just 2 months ago, we have been through a certain journey. So just taking somebody else through that journey, supporting somebody else through that journey. So when we started, we were in different places, but the common thing that drew us all together was we were committed. And the other thing was, which worked for me very well, was that we just because we had come to know each other already through our interactions, we just accepted each other for who we were, where we were, and coming together as a group had all the energy of support and upliftment. So it barely took us, I think, 3 or 4 calls to set the inner ambience and the attitude with which to approach our calls. Which is why I think that was very very crucial at that moment, that we are going to come together, we are going to uplift each other, we're going to be there for each other, we're going to listen to each other, and we're going to grow individually and together.
Yeah.
So I remember that very clearly. I remember that feeling very clearly.
And very unjudgmental.
Yeah. It was a sense of allowing, wasn't it? It was an allowing for each of us to be who we were and how we were. And in the early days of our calls, I used to, something that we'd learned from actually Austin himself was, what's alive in you today? And starting out the call with just that simple statement or something similar that just allowed each of us to share how and where we felt. And if somebody didn't feel alive, they had the ability and knew that they had the scope within the group to just say whatever it was. And there was, as Madeleine said, there was no judgment. There was no, oh, you know, that's not quite the energy we're looking for. It was just an acceptance amongst all of us for each other.
And also, Heidi, I think when we used to come together on those calls, we took people's concerns really seriously. So we really wanted to help people. And as a group, we would discuss, oh, did you see that person? They put this in the post, and what could we do to help them? And is that beyond our capability? And can we call in somebody else? There was a real sense of collaboration on those calls in the early days when we had become ambassadors, that we wanted to make sure that anyone who was coming up the tribe after us got an even better experience.
But of course, that helped us to grow us ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Because we were learning the tools and techniques to up-level ourselves, that we were helping other people to do the same.
And 2 years in, we still have that energy amongst us. We're still encouraged. No one expects that after 2 years or 2.5, including the Lifebook process, that we have everything that we need. No one brings that energy to the table where we're judged. Still, everyone's still encouraging, supportive, and that collaboration that we learned together in Lifebook is something we still bring to the table. And we allow each other to ebb and flow, where some of us are close at some moments and others are close at some moments, and we bring our skills together to just allow them to flourish where someone needs that flourishing. And we just really have that space and patience for one another.
It definitely helps to have a similar lexicon of development and evolution that Lifebook offered us. So the fact that we already knew about PVPS, we knew about the 12 categories, and each one of us would bring into the discussion what we are working on. I remember one of our first milestones was finishing our Lifebook. Even though we were already 3 months, 4 months into it, and for those who are still participating in the process, it is an intense process, and you don't really finish a 12 category folder maybe in those 6 weeks or so. So the first thing I remember as a milestone that we celebrated was showing up with our Lifebooks. This is it. And, just saying to each other, well, that Lifebook is so you. Some of us did it digitally, some of us just wrote it down, or some of us wrote it down and did a lot of painting and stuff. So stepwise in that manner.
Yeah. And if you haven't got that commitment to Lifebook within the group, this group would never have worked. Everybody was committed. Everybody was locked into having their Lifebook and wanting to take their lives forward. And I think that gave us a power as a group. Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about in that one?
Someone actually asked a really good question in the chat. You probably didn't see that, but they asked, finding a group has been difficult. And I'll say that I as a person thought that I would flourish most in an accountability group. So I struggled to find one, and I really actively pursued it. And that's not how this group came together at all. It was very organic, where I just found there was some people I gravitated towards communicating with more. And then an opportunity presented itself where we had a purpose that aligned, which again, our catalyst was really being asked to volunteer for Lifebook ambassadorship. But in that same notion, there was lots of people who became ambassadors. And what we 9 experienced is that we just, in varying degrees, kept being drawn to one another. I found the posts people made in their personal accounts intriguing. And so this organic growth started to occur. And then it was just a suggestion one day. But I think within that, it was finding people who, no matter what, even if they're going to come and go, that they still wanted to move forward in their life. And there was other accountability groups I had during this and after. And some of them asked me to do things that I was never going to do. Like, I'm probably going to be late, and I am probably not going to do something that everyone else does. There's some laughter in my group. And I'm accepted here just for what I am, even if I'm encouraged, even if someone gives me a nudge, which is very helpful. But I had groups that said, you have to come here prepared for this every moment, and this is the checklist. And I have a busy job that I love, that I allow my clients to be virtually 24/7 with me. I just felt sometimes like I was falling short, and then I left. I thought that's not the kind of energy that I want. So yeah, there's going to be some stops and starts, and there's going to be people that you don't align with, but keep bringing the energy and the desire. And when you find people, even if they're not linked together, where you keep gravitating towards, build that conversation to be deeper and find your similarities, and where you can help one another with different energy.
Yeah, it's giving it a try, because I can think about 2 or 3 different groups that I tried to work with, and it didn't work for many reasons. And then I just left and just moved on, because it's something that I wanted, and then that's it. It happened. So it was like on the go. It was like testing, trying, and then it comes.
Yeah. I think a really good point with this is the fact that we do allow each other downtime, because if something's going on in your life and you're not around for 2-3 calls, consecutive calls, it doesn't matter. But what each of us knows is that somebody in the group will be checking in with that person, or several of us will be checking, saying, is everything okay? What can I do to support you? What help do you need? Because that's what we'd all learn through going through Lifebook in the first place. Was about growth and journey, and
It's exactly that, Heidi. It's being there for each other. It is an accountability group in such that it's more about what are you working on and how can I support you on that, rather than, okay, have you met your goals? Have you, it's not as linear as that. It's more of an ebb and flow. All right, what is the challenge that you're now facing, and how can we support you with that as you're going through it? And of course, celebrating the wins that we have too.
Although I do get my rod of iron out from time to time to give them to give them a little bit of a G up. Say, come on, guys, what are you doing?
One thing that helped us as a tool is Heidi started recording our calls. So if one of us was not there, then we have now a rich reservoir of our calls filled with resources and wisdom and meditations and just banter. So every once in a while, if I couldn't make it, just listening to the call would bring me up to speed, and I wouldn't feel as if I've lost out on something. So if somebody's thinking about starting a group like this, then do think about creating some kind of recording. At a particular point, there was so much that we were bringing to the table that it was Maria who started us on Slack. If Maria would like to speak to that. So these are 2 very distinct tools that, help us consolidate in a logical, structural manner what we were feeling in an emotional, intuitive manner as well. Just about the question about how to get into such a group, I think all our experience was the same. I just wanted to connect with specific people that I came across during the Lifebook program. I remember the first time I got across to Maria, I'm like, I want her. And so we actually started talking one-on-one, one-to-one. And then we connected with Smother. And then when Smother got connected to the other beautiful ladies in the group, she pulled the 2 of us into this group. So start with one that you vibe with. Start with the commitment that you want somebody to be on the journey, to be, your cheerleader. Start with that one, and it'll grow. And then, Maria's mother and I, we joined 2 others that failed. Those 2 dropped off. Then the 3 of us joined these 6, and we remained. So it doesn't have to be ready-made. We can just create it for ourselves.
Yeah, it's an evolution.
And actually, to add to that, Smadra and I connected on a one-on-one as well outside of this. And then we came into this. So some of these connections were made one-on-one, and then just slowly over time, when we all became ambassadors and we became the first ambassador group, was like, I know you. And I'd met you, Heidi. So it was an organic coming together, really.
But if we likened that now to where we are, and we're talking in Lifebook membership here, how I would liken that is if you connect with one person, say for instance on a connection call or one of the champion calls, and then you start to have the dialogue, and then other people can start to connect with you. And it is about evolution and growth, very much so. So I'm going to go on to what works for each of us and why, and I'll kick that off. To me, it's just knowing that we can uplift each other. When challenges come, and my goodness, we've had some incredible challenges over this last couple of years. Everybody in Lifebook, everybody around the planet has got challenges right now. But the beauty here is that we uplift each other. No matter how down and low each other gets, we're there as a support, and we can bring that person back up and know that they will. Even if they don't feel it at that moment in time, we know that they will, because that's the journey that we're all on, and it's beautiful. And you feel the support from each other. But equally, we give each other space. And to me, that's really important, is having that space and freedom to just go and explore something for a while, or just to go and vegetate and do something uncharacteristic with your Lifebook for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or a day. It's just love, but we just support each other. It's beautiful.
And we actually talk every day on WhatsApp, like literally every day. So we're constantly connected with one another on WhatsApp every day.
Yeah.
It's that allegiance that we have. So while we're being ourselves or together, we have this allegiance that we carry each other through the day. I'm not really sure how we arrived at that, but over time, having that shared goal of becoming our best, and it's definitely through the Lifebook steps, absolutely, is how we go about our day. And, we're not perfect. We, as Heidi says, we come and we go, but we have this allegiance where we have each other through the day. So when we see something and we think, oh, I know that Eve's working on that right now, I'm going to send that to her. Or I know she was having a hard time, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to take an extra step and reach out. And we really give that to one another. So that support is part of all of life for us now. It's like, we really are sisters. Yeah.
Yeah. I see our group as being a home. We come back to our homes. So even if we go off for a journey somewhere, whether it's a mental or a physical journey somewhere, we know that our group is, we're back home, and we know that we can come home whenever we want to and whenever we need to, and we can connect when we need to. To me, that's powerful.
And this is very real. Being a surgeon, I'm so used to a logical, structured approach to life. But when we came together, one of the most powerful tools that we employed are meditations. Danny led us through wonderful meditations, which focused on centering and coming together. And over a period of time, if one is especially working on one's spiritual category as well, this togetherness became a real thing. Maybe not in the physical realm, but it's a real living force. There have been many instances where if one of us needs the other, we don't have to say it. We just get across to that person, hey, thinking about you, what's up with you? And sure enough, there's something up. When we come together, there was a question about do we only discuss about Lifebook, or do we have a focus? The wonderful thing about Lifebook is that it's such a framework. Anything can fit into it, right? Strategies fit into it, what we learn fits into it, our goals fit into it. So we just brought all of that with us on the table. So what worked for me was this framework and the togetherness that we created, I don't know, magically, but it's very much valuable.
And we celebrate a lot, and we have a lot of fun.
Yes.
I mean, you know, just to give an example, Danny got us on writing. We used to do a writing exercise for every Friday for, you know, 10 minutes, free flow writing. She'd give us a word, bang, you're going to start writing for 10 minutes. And you think, oh my goodness, where's this going? And then you'd be writing. And hey, what? Collectively, we've co-authored a book. I mean, come on, this is what magic's made of. This is what Lifebook's made of. This is actually about having some fun and creating a journey. We don't talk about a particular category on a particular call. It's whatever's coming up for any of us in the 9. And that's the flow, because we're each at whatever stage we're at.
So it's all categories.
It's all categories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because we live all 12 of them every day.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things too that we've been that we've done in the past is if someone comes with a challenge and they're like, hey, I'm stuck here, or I'm going through this, and we've had times where we're just like, okay, like, present your challenge and how can we help you? How can we support you? Have you tried this? Have you thought about this? And it's so we've kind of done all sorts of things. Like we've had talks about, you know, these are our goals, but we've also had talks about, you know, how just living the Lifebook lifestyle in general affects us. We've had talks about just anything really. And it's just this connection of, you know, we all want each other to succeed in whatever that can be. And, you know, if it's just become this, it's for us, it's just really this just beautiful, this just organic, ever evolving, flowing. There's a lot of feminine energy in the group, obviously, because we're 9 women. But it's just been this beautiful process, and each person can bring what they have to the table too. So it's, you know, some weeks we just have conversations and chats and catch up. And then some weeks we're like, oh, wait, I have learned this new thing. Can I share this information with you? You know, so.
And some of our calls we turn into what we could, rather than called mastermind calls, we call them not Master 9 call, just to give it a slightly different name, because there's 9 of us. And our Master 9 is to help one of the group with a problem or something they want other input on, and they sit in the chair in the middle, and then they get input from the 8, and it helps them step forward, whatever that might be.
And on top of that, some of us have shared, well, all of us have shared really, really deeply personal, vulnerable things that you might not share with anybody else in your friend group, your family group. It's so sacred and it's so pure that there's such a trust and a bond that you can literally bare your soul in this group and know that you're going to be held. And I know the word judgment has been used, but not judged. And, you know, let's say problems with a family member or someone really, really close to you, and really difficult stuff. And that power of 9, as we call it, the others being able to hold that sacred space and either just listen or else give advice or not give advice, if that's the right way of putting it. But to hold the space, that has been incredible. And I don't think I've experienced that anywhere else at all in my whole life.
It makes me think of it's almost like an unwritten natural etiquette that just happened. It wasn't defined, it's not written down. No, it's nowhere, but it just is. But I do think that the Lifebook program created that underlying theme of reasonableness, if you like.
Of how to show up, of how to interact with each other, of how to show up with our best selves, with respect. Yes, as Olivia says, absolutely. And another thing that I wanted to share was that we do have, Friday, for me, it's Friday evening. Friday evening is a sacred time for me, right? To the extent that I change my clinic hours and I do a lot of changing just to be here. Also within the group, because several of us are experts and specialists in respective fields, we've actually drawn on that as well. sometimes even one-to-one. I have the freedom, and no other system will feel that, oh, I've been left out, of just reaching across to Heidi if I am going through a certain emotional block, or I reach across to Judy, or I mean, and vice versa. So this amazing allowingness, this structure and flowingness, this amalgamation of dualities, in our approach, is something that keeps the group very dynamic, very possibility oriented. It's not always structure, it's not always flow. It's just what's needed for all of us individually and as a group. And I think I don't know when we talk, I'm sure, but it's not just we've not just come to this group for ourselves as individuals. We probably didn't look for it, but certain miraculous things have happened for us as a group too.
Yeah.
And I'd love to share about that as the conversation goes on. So
Yes.
it's like group energy feeding the individual energy, and individual energy feeding the group. It's just been very wonderful.
Yeah, it's not just the I, it's the we. Yeah, very much so. And we've done an awful lot together as the we collective projects. We launched a program called It's Time To, which is sharing our gifts across the world. We've done a collaborative book, and there's a whole host of things that we're going to continue to do together as a group, but equally we're working on stuff as individuals, which is absolutely amazing. It's what Lifebook's all about. Set the dreams. Yeah.
I think something about those, sorry, I was going to mention that those projects there, it would be wonderful if all 9 of us just said, yeah, let's write a book. And that was the energy, and we just pressed go and it was there. And that's not what the energy was. There was some that were reluctant and some that struggled. And we just kept that goal. Like, we're accountable for ourselves as individuals. And we made a commitment to other people about those projects, and we're accountable together. And we really want to get to the next level of what we can achieve. So yeah, it wasn't just all systems go and we're those doers. And it was a lot of encouragement and support and patience from one another. And that's what really was able to capture that book finally, was the fruition of really what we encompass, which is patience, understanding, encouragement, support. That book is absolutely a manifestation of the energy we bring to one another.
And it started as a game. You remember that Danny used to make these short exercises of writing on a topic, and we did it for a few weeks, and then it just evolved. So there wasn't a plan. So I think about this accountability group. Yeah, we don't decide, we don't take a topic, we don't work. I mean, each life is so different. Each person is so different, and each one of us is trying to. We all trying to bring ourselves into like expression, and it's not the same expression. It's so different from a person to person. So it's just, respect others' way to express. And there's points that we are meeting, and there's points that we are apart. But the points that we are meeting are strong enough to have something that evolves.
Yeah.
I feel like we keep spiraling. It's a spiral that we do. Like we started at the bottom of a spiral, and in my mind, it's like that beautiful spiral staircase that goes up all those different layers of library levels, like in the center, and we've got all these bookshelves around us. And each one of us is on a different step sometimes. And some of us, sometimes we're all in that middle, same level on the same floor of the library. And then we're spiraling up yet again with everything we do. And every time we talk, we're moving up a step. Sometimes we move back about 5 or 6 steps sometimes based on what's going on in our personal life. But we all support each other and make sure that we're all staying on our beautiful spiral staircase as we keep leveling ourselves up.
I'm going to change the vision of that library staircase is actually the lighthouse, which is Danny right back at the beginning. She kept talking about the lighthouse and shining the light out. And actually, that's what we're doing. We're going up the staircase on the inside of the lighthouse, and there's all our books and layers and levels. And we're working our way up because we want to get to the top because the light's shining out on our vision. And that's what we're all taking each other and elevating ourselves and helping each.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So one thing that I realized very early on, that Lifebook is not a done and over with process, right? It's an iterative process. And this imaging of being on a spiral. So if I start on, let's say, my intellectual category and I work on it for a little while, I'll find myself coming back to the intellectual category, but at a different spot, trying now needing to do different things. Now that intellectual category having served other categories, and now that intellectual category perhaps being hampered by another category, or perhaps needing to evolve to another level. This group has been instrumental in just keeping me going, because for so many reasons, we think in terms of, well, it's over and done. This program is done. This book is done. I should be here right now within the 3 months, but it's never the case. It's about life. We don't say that, well, I've taken this one breath. Now I'm done for the rest of my life. So it's just like that. We just the iteration of Lifebook and coming back to a same spot but at a higher level of evolution, being support, and at that level you need support too. At that level you have to navigate a learning curve too. At that level I needed the wisdom of the others too. I needed to go back to Lifebook and work on it too. Needed to adopt newer strategies. So that is something that I'm 100% sure I wouldn't have done if I didn't have the 9.
I'm conscious of our time, so I'm going to move us on to how our group has evolved and changed. So to me, we've reached a completely different level of maturity from when we started a couple of years ago, because we were all very, very early in our Lifebook journeys, although some of us were further ahead in terms of time. I know Catherine and Danny had been the longest in Lifebook, myself after that, and others in the group of 9 were newer. And so we were giving lots of support there, but we've collectively now reached a whole new level of maturity because we've been together as a group of 9. We've learnt from each other, we've shared skills with each other, we've helped each other on a one-to-one level, and it wasn't about each and every goal, and not even necessarily about the tasks or the habits. It was about just constantly helping each other to take a step at a time, step forward, step forward, step forward. What is it you're wanting to get to? Step forward, step forward. And it was constantly, what are the baby steps that you can take? What can you do today? What's going to help you? And the meditations that we had. So it was about the mental side and not just the physical side.
I think for me, Heidi, if I can talk about the evolution of the group, the role of witness. In this world, we come to so many of these experiences as consumers, as people who are, seeking support, that are needing something. I think the importance of this process has been that we came with the sense of not wishing to help people so much as be there for them. And in finding this community, we were also able to support each other through the sense of awareness, because I struggled having been the only person in my surrounds, friends and family, who'd written my Lifebook. And I got quite a patronizing response from that community. And that's nice, well done. You don't understand how powerful this is. And then, feeling almost like I had to self-justify, and that was counterproductive. And finding myself back in this group, being able to just be amongst people who understood, and then connecting from that point on, and not having to constantly contextualize and lay it out, because any other format to our collective experience as being the life book would have been, for me, counterproductive, just because we didn't have that common framework as a starting point. So that just that witnessing role, even if you never say a word, this quiet understanding and this quiet awareness of like, yes, this is exactly what I'm going through, and the nodding head or the wide eyes that go, me too, is an important form of acknowledgement and a generative grounding in the process, because it's not smooth, it's not linear. Yes, it's spiral, but in that spiraling, you kind of feel like you're mixed up. The problem is you're never ever going to feel good in your own skin because you're pushing your comfort zone. So all the witnesses surrounding you, they're just holding that space going, girl, we see you, or guy, we see you, we know you're there, it's happening. We'll be there on the other side of this event, and there's going to be another one. And we'll be witnesses to that too.
Yeah. And none of us try and fix each other.
There's nothing to fix. That's the witness. It's inherent perfection. And it's not about perfectibility. So at the end of the day, you realize everything serves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like one thing that I think about when we are talking is there's lots of freedom in the group. It happens out of freedom. And we plan to meet each other.
Absolutely.
All 9 of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems that accountability group is formed as we speak.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm not watching the chat. Brilliant. That's brilliant.
There's Stacy, Denise, Petra, Susan, and Aija. Am I saying that right? Which is wonderful. There is a accountability group being formed right now.
That's beautiful. And I can't understate the power of, if you allow and you help each other to design their own life.
Yeah.
And give flexibility, allow creation, have fun, and just enjoy each other.
Yeah.
Leave the egos at the door, and just be yourself, be your natural self, the one that's better, getting better and better each and every day, that's growing and becoming more alive. What's alive in you today?
And actually, Heidi, that's another thing. By God, we've had some good laughs.
Oh
we've really had some great laughs. And not only like Austin, and then we had another person after that took over. I mean, all during that journey. And then when we kind of became our own group, a huge part of it was the playfulness.
Yeah.
Which was probably how we were able to hold such deep space when the really vulnerable stuff came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that exactly what you're saying, Eve, allowed us to enjoy an emerging instead of a doing. So something that we've been realizing in this whole feminine approach is the womb wisdom, and that doesn't exclude men. In fact, it's inviting men to please explore the space where results arise. They don't necessarily they're not constructed. So this anxiety and this inadequacy we have the whole time about a to-do list or things that we have or haven't accomplished, this is not an A-type connectivity session. This is very much about the experience of gestation. And so much of it is about clearing. So if we just focus on making space for the stuff that we deserve, then a lot of the work that you do is actually, it's not related to the life book that you've written. It's about getting the stuff that's in the way out of the way.
Yes.
And that's enough. But, there's a lot of permission-based stuff that has to happen there. And often people around you, they're so focused on abundance being about accumulation that many of those people around you in conventional thoughtscapes will not allow you to relinquish what you have accumulated, because they'll tell you that those are your possessions. But at a certain point in the life book process, you realize, my goodness, my possessions are possessing me. Please, heaven, let them go. And then you can do the Marie Kondo thing. You can start to actually let them go and bless others who might be able to run with them, whether it's projects or possessions or other people, it doesn't matter. And, this is the thing, we're in a non-accumulative space. I remember a big project for me in this group being feng shui. being able to arrange the energy of my home and to release that which wasn't serving. And yeah, at one point I feng shuied myself out of the house, but that's a different story.
We'll have that on next Friday's call, Maria. You can tell us all about it.
Then Maria, you know what else to do is
I just want to say we've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So we have some really good questions that we might want to address. So I know we can tend to talk a lot. And so I'm just reeling us in.
Okay.
We're just used to our usual 90 minutes. So yeah, if anybody's interested, we meet every Friday for 90 minutes.
Yeah, we do.
So Catherine, there is a question in the chat for you that you can answer.
Do you want to read the
And it
question
is.
I
out?
don't know if you've seen that. It's the question about the about the book.
Oh, about our book? Yes.
Yeah, someone asked when it would be available, or so I'm letting you take that one.
Okay, so again, we go with feminine flow, and I will tell you right now, through this whole book process, I have moved the published date I don't know how many times, because we all needed to be ready to be in various stages, and we are at the very end. We have it right now as an advanced reader's copy for people to read and get some feelings for. So in Lifebook Marketplace on the platform, there is a way for you to put your name in there, and then Heidi or Danny will be able to send you the link, because I'm in the process of getting it all in the ebook and printed book format, which is taking every single ounce of my focus, because I also have 4 children that
And a 9-to-5 job. Just saying.
And a full-time job, and there's some Lifebook ambassador duties in there somewhere, and a whole host of other things that sometimes slow me down a little bit. So
But it will be out soon. It will be out soon. Let's just leave it at that.
So
Shall we?
the plan is to have it out, actually available for purchase in the next 3 weeks. That is the plan.
There you go.
It
You
might
heard
be
it here
4 or
first.
5 weeks. It might be 6 weeks. We'll see how this goes, but
But the plan is
soon, very soon.
Yeah.
You know, the creation of this book and the publishing of the book is every step that we just spoke about in the last 1 hour.
Yeah.
It's like everything that who we are and what we do went into this. It's just magical the way that came about.
And our own journey and our own growth as individuals, and the magic that happens along the way, and the support and the love and the care.
Yeah, if I can think about one tip I can give, like for finding an accountability group, is that it is a group that you enjoy with, like really enjoy the friendships, the connections. It has to be enjoyable, I think, even in the difficult times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even more so. And we've had some.
One of us created a channel on Slack called as ARC. You know, so even if you're not talking on that, just dump what we are feeling. It's like ARC. And it just is so amazing. We all laugh. The other sisters weigh in. And it's like, whew. It's like, oh, this is one exorcism kind of a thing.
It's almost, if you think of our accountability group as like a recipe, we've each bought different ingredients, we've mixed it together, we've added in some extra pieces here and there, we've maybe taken 1 or 2 bits out because we've grown and changed our characters along the way, and now what we've created as a recipe is off the chart.
We connected on Facebook before we gave personal information, and I think that, you know, the process of Lifebook is a process of humility. Definitely, you have to become very raw and honest with yourself. So when reaching out, a lot of us, we just approached it with that same vulnerability. It wasn't like, I didn't feel scared to reach out to someone. We're all in this together and we all have our own challenges. So just, come with that energy. And find that when you're in that space of being really real with yourself, the right people do fall in line. And the more you align with that energy in yourself, the more you align with those people. It really becomes a natural process that you'll find in this.
Yeah, I mean, in real life, there's lots of blame culture, but it doesn't happen here, not in this accountability group. It doesn't happen here, not in this Lifebook arena. And that
I just mention a good point here. If you all want to connect, if you in the chat just mention how you can find each other, what name do you use in the Lifebook app, so that it's easy to trace the person that is putting everybody together can find you.
Fantastic.
I think it's Stacy that's doing that, right? Yeah.
Brilliant.
Put your name in there.
Yeah. Positivity has been absolutely key for our group, because when everything's low and down, just being able to flick that switch to, so how and what are you going to do that's going to step you forward? Just simple questions, no judgments, just simple questions, and just let that help lift the group.
And also, do you remember every time anyone had a sickness or someone in their family who was sick or something that was going on, that your energy was low, the other 8 would come around and they would send absent vibrational healing. So we've all sent each other absent healing across time and space, and really felt it. You really feel the energy of the other sisters around you across the globe, holding you up in tough times. That's been very special.
Yeah.
And life has changed tremendously. Like, we've had people, like feng shui was mentioned in the chat, and it's like we've had people go, I just need to let go. And there's been a lot of letting go in our personal lives, and there's been changes. There's been job changes, there's been career changes, there's been engagements, and just a lot of changes personally, which is not only very well supported, that we support each other through changes, but because we have this regrouping every Friday and the constant chat, we're reminded to move forward even when we aren't in a space where we feel like we can move forward. We still have that collective energy together that we're about growth, and it's really helped us make profound life changes. We're all in a very different place than we were 2 years ago when we came together.
Yeah.
Different internally and externally.
Yes. Yes, because we don't allow each other to wallow. It doesn't mean to say you don't have your downtime and what's going on and feel into that, but then it's about, okay, what can we do to help lift you back up? Yeah.
In fact, we've kind of talked about it, that the last call of our group this year, we are going to celebrate how we've grown and evolved over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So 1st November happens to be our anniversary. So we've completed 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had a wine Friday in a little while.
No, perhaps not. Well, there you go. Yeah.
I just want to make sure before we close, has everybody put their name in the chat box so Stacey has it? Good.
Okay, so
I just want to make sure nobody's missing out on this. This is a golden opportunity to get your accountability group together.
Petra's given a question. How did your connection to people who are outside, who are judgmental and not in your vibe? Personally, show them what Lifebook has done for you. Don't tell them, just allow them to see by how you change.
There are people who are not going to be ready. There just are people who are not ready in that space to have their own growth. And I have lots of friends who live near me that I still enjoy talking to and spending time with. And they keep asking me how I've grown and changed because they see it. And yet every time I talk about Lifebook, they stop listening. So you just have to be you and just keep doing your thing, and know that at some point you may have some of those friendships, they just fall away. And it's not because it's unfortunate, and yet it's also because you're growing and they are choosing to stay, and you have just made them totally uncomfortable. Like that's really what it is. I have a best friend of 30 plus years, And she has not been as big a part of my life over the last 2 because my growth has shifted so much. It's not that I don't care about her, and it's not that I would not, stop and help her however she needs help, but she's not willing to receive that help, and she's not willing to make her own thoughts of how she wants to grow. And it may be that at this point our paths are just diverging, and there's nothing wrong with that because that's part of that growth cycle as well. So just be open, be compassionate about where they are. They may not be able to be compassionate about where you are. So just as long as you do everything through compassion and love and treat them with respect, you're doing the best you can do.
Yeah, keep going up the lighthouse and shine your light. Yeah, which and Kerry's just said that, shine your light lifts people. It does.
And each one of us belong to different communities. Each one of us have intersecting lives with other communities, families, one unit, friends. I've got groups of friends from my medical school years, from my surgery residence years, current colleagues. I know it's exciting when we come across something so powerful like a framework like Lifebook, that we want to share it with everybody, but not everybody is in the space to want to hear it or even understand it. So every group, every tribe that I'm a member of, I just gauge what is the vibe of that particular tribe. And in the process of evolving myself, if sometimes boundaries have been put in place by me, which has caused a shift in the way I communicate or the way I align with that particular group, so be it, Yeah. So yes, I think my one tip is contain that excitement of sharing, even though it's difficult, but not everybody is ready for that pot of gold.
Yeah.
Petra, I popped a link there for you. It's just interesting because the judgment comes from a victim story, our victimology. And even to the point that we may discard it, it's so familiar to us that we often acquire it. And I just keep coming back to the difference between the drama triangle and the empowerment dynamic in my life. And the thing about the drama triangle, that link tells the story of it. You can live it inside yourself, but in all your relationships as well. But it's the same thing of the empowerment dynamic. You can reset all those internal and external dialogues. It's very helpful to look at that. You don't ever have to speak to anyone about it. But the minute you start acting from that new paradigm, the emanation is so intense that people join you and you don't have to do any persuading. It's powerful. And we operate from that premise inside our group. We forgive each other our victimologies because they exist inside our stories. It's not about judgment, but recognizing that there's another paradigm to which we can actually defer helps.
Thank you. We're over time. Is there any other questions? Anything else we can help with? I can't wait to hear the dynamic of this new group that's formed. It takes a little bit of time, openness, and you'll be away. Fantastic.
This is great. Much success in your new group.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good seeing you.
And if you're
all.
watching the recording of this and you're looking for an accountability group, post in the comments underneath that, hey, I'm looking for an accountability group. And then you can look for names and connect with people, because I know not everybody's here live. So when you're reach out, just reach out, take that chance, practice your courage.
Exactly. Come on our Tribe Connection calls, which we've now renamed, but come and join on the calls and see people's faces. That's where connection happens.
Yeah.
Get that energy connection. Beautiful. Thank you.
Happy weekend, everyone.
Have a fabulous weekend. Full of fun.
Bye.
Bye.